I have mentioned to you before, I just like you to go out and live your life and enjoy life. Just have a good time. You know why? Because mostly, I honestly believe, we don't have much time left. And we have to remember, this is our journey. This is not our life. Our life still waits for us on down the road. Welcome here, all of you that are interested in studying end times and where the timing might be of when our Heavenly Father's Son is shown in the clouds and the rapture happens. I know so many of you are excited for that. You want that to happen. I think that's pretty normal. But I've also said, let's live our life also. All right, let's get into what's going on because this is pretty serious. When you have a terrorist organization, an authoritarian, a dictatorship, one thing you do not do is you do not go out into the streets and you have some sort of a protest against them because you will be met with a bullet in the back. As they spread, have you leave, they'll tear you down. And seen as in Iran. In Iran, protests happen, they jail people, they shoot people, they kill people, people just disappear. You don't do that. Well, that's what's happening today in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip. That's actually happening. It has been for 3 days. The first day there was a few hundred, but they got away with it. What was seen is the Hamas terrorists took their uniforms off, were in street clothing, and went out there, and you'd see them trying to break it up. Well, the second day it built momentum and got to be from hundreds into thousands protesting in the streets of Gaza. Absolutely unheard of. Very, very foretelling. Because you see, what's happening is that they're protesting against Hamas. They're saying, give the hostages up, set your guns down, and quit. Go away. You're no longer wanted here. And we'll see what happens today and the next day. These protests are building. Well, what that really means is a clear sign that Hamas doesn't have enough to be able to stymie this, to stop it. These protests are turning out to large numbers. We'll see today, even over the next couple of days. And so let's get an overall picture of what's going on here, folks. One of the things that Hamas needs at this particular time is, I think, this is my thinking, they need an off-ramp. They need to get out of this. Hamas sees that they're losing. This terrorist organization is being depleted. Netanyahu's IDF, Israel Defense Force, is building in strength within Gaza. And it's obvious to them as they fight and they report, they have told us the resistance isn't anything like what it was before. Hamas sees this and knows that they're close to coming to an end. Now, the question would be is how do they get themselves out of this? Well, if they can find a way to have some sort of an off-ramp, and that means you corner them and they look like they're going to be defeated, if you just open the door enough for them to leave, would they? So would they be dispersed into other countries maybe? And then they would finally be out of the Gaza Strip? That's just my thinking at this time. Okay, so what else is happening that's like really obvious to us? And that is the Houthis. The Houthis are being struck almost on a daily basis by the United States. Houthis in Yemen, which they're doing is they're choking off part of the shipping lanes and horrible for commerce, causing prices of food, everything to go. I mean, it's just a huge expense for them to go all the way around the Horn of Africa to be able to get the goods through. They need that shipping lane. And America's taken it on because it's international waters that they're threatening, which means America, the power of the world, is in there doing what I think they probably should. And it seems, though, as at this point, the Houthis are not relinquishing. But let's remember this one thing. The Houthis keep on fighting, saying they want to fight Israel. They want to help Hamas in Gaza Strip. As long as the fighting in Hamas and Gaza Strip goes on, Houthi says we will continue to fire missiles not only at the ships but at Israel too. But they said they would quit if Israel was to remove all of its military out of Gaza, okay, and just let Hamas have control again. That's basically what they're saying. All right, well, let's go on over up into Hezbollah. Hezbollah is being caught on a regular basis of still trying to, this is within Lebanon. Hezbollah has been caught smuggling in more and more weapons. And Israel keeps on going in there and doing something about that. Well, this is upsetting Lebanon. Lebanon is saying, you're no friend of ours, Israel. So now, back to, again, the enmity between Lebanon and Israel. Again, no settling it between the two of them. Hamas is bad guys. Now remember, Lebanon's military was to take control of Hezbollah, and they can't. They don't have the strength of the power, nor do they have the will. So that's still hostile territory to Israel. And then you have those that are in Syria, which is the leftovers, offshoots, if you want, of ISIS, the Taliban. And what they're doing is kind of like trying to pretend that they won't do anything to Israel. Look, if I even know it, Israel knows it. They're not a friend to Israel. So Israel, within the Damascus area, certain areas, wherever they see weapons being built up, Israel goes into Syria and bombs them. All right, so let's move on over to, we have the proxies now. We have Hezbollah in Lebanon. We have Hamas in Gaza Strip and Houthis in Yemen. So now let's go up to Iran. Iran is not capable of defending itself from an attack, whether it comes from America, whether it comes from Israel, whether it comes from both. They would not be able to defend themselves. So President Trump, diplomacy first, wants Iran to give up all its nuclear ambitions and make it clear to the world. Inspectors in there and seeing it being dismantled. Iran's not going to put up with that. They have said, no, we would go to war first. Now, all of this that I'm explaining to you, really and seriously, Iran is the one that is supporting Hezbollah, supporting Hamas, and supporting the Houthis. Now, I'm not a military strategist. I don't really understand how they figure they're going to do wars. I don't get any of that. But I don't think it takes a real genius to figure out that if something was to happen to Iran, would that bring the others to a stop? Or the others, Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis. But if something happens to those three, their proxies, Iran's proxies, what would Iran do then? All right, I can't tell you because I don't know and I don't have any crystal ball. But the truth being is that the head of the snake is Iran. What would be the obvious solution? All right, let's go all the way back now to Gaza Strip. Very interesting over the next few days because Hamas is trying to say that the protests are against Israel. It's really obvious they're not, which is another indication that Hamas is in trouble. They're not going to go much longer. And there's the main point of today that I'm trying to say. This could be a game changer if we just keep our eyes on the protests. How much more will the citizens of Gaza protest against Hamas before Hamas sees there is no way out of this? And do they need an exit? Yes, they do. My guess, again, I don't know. Give them an out. You lay down your guns, Hamas. You go ahead and exit and will be deported to other countries. There's other countries be happy to take them. One is Qatar. The other one is Turkey. That they would be able to intermingle with the Muslim Brotherhood, which is parts of Egypt. And then that would finally be no more fighting against Israel or Israel fighting against them. So just, no, I don't have the solution. I don't have the answer. I'm not saying I do. But what I'm saying is, if you want to get an overall general picture of what's happening, let me touch on this subject too. The actual fighting within the Knesset, the government of Israel, that fighting that's taking place in there, I want to simplify that for you. I want you to see it as what America was just before Trump took control, before he became the president. the Biden's regime, I'm sorry, the Biden's administration is that of the left. In Israel, within the Knesset, they have the left, which is adamant about going left as the Biden administration was. Netanyahu is on the right, and he has those that are with him that are on the right, which is the same thing as what happened to Trump. So Israel's disrupted greatly within the Knesset, and if you want to understand what's going on there, that's your explanation. I mean, we can go into names and who's doing what and how, when and where and all that kind of stuff. That it just bores me, to be honest with you. What I want to know is what it is that I can see happening there. The fight goes on in Israel. That's the point. Within the Knesset, within their government. The fight goes on within Hamas. We don't really know. The fight goes on with Iran. Hezbollah has been fought back enough that they're not going to try to fight Israel again. Besides, they do have a treaty going on. Okay, and Houthis continue to do the same thing, but America just keeps on bombing them. So how much longer are they going to last? Because America's made up its mind. That's according to President. He says they will come to an end at firing against international water ships commerce. President Trump has made that very obvious. Okay, out of all this, and what I had said, just let things go and watch. Sit back and watch. If you have something to go do, you have plans, I'll keep an eye on what's going on here, and I'll bring it to you and present it the way I did today. Just I want you to see in general what's going on, but we don't have any answers yet. Okay, let me go on and enjoy your day is what I'm trying. One of the points I want to make today, Matthew 24. It's 43 through 45. But know this, that if the good men of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. That is for you to understand. You're aware. It doesn't say you're supposed to go out and go look for them. All right, let's go on down. Therefore, be ye also ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man comes. Let's go about our daily lives. Remember, this is our journey. Keep on going. Who then is faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord had made ruler over the household, to give them meat in due season? Meat, wisdom, knowledge, understanding. That's you folks. You see what's coming. Don't be misled here. I'm going to go down to 1 Thessalonians 5. And it says, but of the times and the seasons, brethren, I have no need that I write unto you. Enjoy. Go do whatever you can. I know some of you are suffering. I know some of you are going through great losses. You have great tribulations you're going through right now, and I understand that. My prayers are with you. For you yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. Here we go again. You're aware, you know what's going on. That's you. He's talking about you. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction come upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And that's another point that I wanted to make. They shall not escape God's action. They may escape out of Gaza Strip. They may stop fighting in Yemen. And Hezbollah might be beat back enough that it's really not going to do anything right at this particular point. But when God's action comes, that we talk about here all the time, Psalms 83, Zechariah 12, when that time comes, there's no escape for these folks. All right, let's go on. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. So, scripture to back up, understanding what's happening, go with the flow, watch, listen, wait, patiently. And like I have said, enjoy as much as you can, whatever you want to go do. Don't stop making plans for the future. It's going to happen more than likely when you least expect it. And that's the reason why I say I live my life. I go out there and just do whatever it is that I feel like doing. I'm not a real busy person, not anything like when I was younger, but probably a good thing. All right, until Sunday, I hope this was helpful to you. It should be understood from a context of looking and standing back and looking at the whole big picture. I'm just surprised somebody hasn't done something with Iran yet. And I guess President Trump is just, again, diplomacy, hoping somehow that Iran would say, okay, we won't build a bomb. I can't really picture that myself. But it is something that is building, and those protests in the streets are a very curious thing. Let's see how they turn out. Okay? Until Sunday. I'll be back then.